Let's welcome in our guest. Devan Kaney joins us in studio. What's up, Devan?
Not much. I have to say that I was talking to Hugh about his Hughes Clue in the break, and pretty broad.
Yeah, they're usually like that. They're usually like that.
Broad is a nicer word than bad, but yeah.
He said painfully. Yeah.
Painfully broad, the first clue. All right. Painful describes the Phillies a little bit right now, Devan, at least with the clubhouse, or at least one player. What did you... So, yes, what was your reaction yesterday when you saw the lineup? Because I thought I saw it wrong. I was like, where's Nick Castellanos' name? I mean, his name is always in there. It has been for years. What was your reaction, and then, what you thought when it all came out yesterday?
My first reaction when I saw the lineup was, oh, no, I hope he's not injured. Because if you remember, I think it was just a week ago, maybe less than a week ago, they DH'd Castellanos to... quote unquote, get him off his feet a little bit. And we know that he hasn't been doing well in right field. That's not new news to anyone. Defensively, I think offensively, Nick Castellanos has been fine, if not better than fine this season. Like he just hit a grand slam a couple days ago. So I don't really have too many complaints in that department. So I, at first, was worried that maybe something happened to him in the previous game, because we also know, Rojas and Kepler went in the outfield, Castellanos, and that's what led to, all of this drama that we're talking about now. But then shortly thereafter, I saw, the news that he was benched for his comment. And I was shocked, just because it's not a move that I've seen Rob Thomson make ever, or at least admit to the reasoning behind the move. So I was really surprised.
I was too, and I'm glad you brought it up. So Topper's the one that told us, right? Like, we found out because Topper. Now, I understand he was probably between a rock and a hard place. Like, if it was a different player, maybe it's not a story, just a day off, and we pretend there's no issue. Mm-hmm. But because of the streak, I don't think they could have just sat Castellanos without telling us something. But that, I feel like Topper opened up the can of worms by telling us, hey, I benched him for this reason.
Yeah. I keep thinking about it, and I don't know what exactly was said. I don't think anything should have been said, of course. I can only assume that maybe it was something either offensive to Rob Thomson, or even more so offensive to Rojas or another player, in the heat of the moment. And Rob Thomson had to take a stand. Like, he was almost like his hand was forced in that situation to say, I can't let this go without some sort of punishment coming down, and this is going to be it, and we're going to move on. Look, I know the streak is over. I know that it's his hometown in Miami, but at the end of the day, they play 162 games in the regular season. It's not that big of a deal to sit out. I don't even think that they lost last night's game because Nick Castellanos didn't play. Yes, Max Kepler made one bad play in right field, but Jesus Luzardo wasn't sharp yesterday. The bullpen stunk yesterday. So there are many different reasons that went behind that loss, and I know people will immediately point to the move of benching Nick Castellanos, but I hope that they can move past this and it doesn't become a lingering issue.
That's the question that I have. So how do you think this is going to affect the locker room? Because, Bryce wasn't there. He didn't travel with the team. He's not down there, and he's considered one of the leaders of the team. Yeah, and I would assume that Casty is as well.
Strange. Is that not?
It's a little strange.
It's
a little strange. So how do you think this is going to affect the team moving forward?
I mean, hopefully it won't affect them too much. I think a lot of it will come down to how Nick Castellanos handles it. Right? Like, if he's mature about it and he goes out there and, he's in the lineup today, like Rob Thomson said, look, he'll be back the following day. It'll all be good. Then I think they can move past it. But Nick Castellanos, this is the first time he's been benched for, an inappropriate comment, as Rob Thomson said. But also, as Rob Thomson said, he is an emotional guy in that, I think it was 2023 postseason, the Phillies had advanced. It was NLDS or CS, I don't remember which one, and the whole team was celebrating. And if you remember, Nick Castellanos was sulking in the corner. He's done that when he's different. Not happy with himself versus the team. And I don't know if this was, purely being upset with Rob Thomson or upset with himself as not being good enough defensively to stay in the game. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but I just hope it doesn't become a lasting issue or an issue that affects other players within the clubhouse.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I keep thinking to myself, was this worth it? Not that I am trying to excuse Castellanos, right? He needs to be a professional. He can't mouth off in the dugout to his manager. But you're dealing with a sensitive player, right? He's sensitive. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. And he prides himself on playing every day and staying on the field. I mean, what you said about his defense is real, but it's kind of weird to me they chose against the Marlins in where his hometown to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if it's the postseason or it's a huge game against the Mets and it's a one-run game in the ninth, and you're like, let's put Rojas in, we have a better chance. I don't know, it just feels like a weird time to do it, Devin. That if I'm Castellanos, I'm like, now? Like, this is when we're doing this?
Well, yeah, like the whole timing of it is kind of funky because, like, you're playing the Marlins, and when the original change happened that upset Castellanos, like, the Phillies had the lead, and I guess it was to hold the lead. But then if you're going to say, we're going to bench Casty because it's just the Marlins the following game, then that's, like, the complete opposite mindset to have. But so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. I know that, Rob Thomson, I think that he's a great manager. I know that, fans, there's been frustration, with Bryce Harper getting hit by a pitch and like not kind of being more fiery and standing up for his guys. But then, when he takes action, and it could have been to stand up for his guys. We don't know exactly what was said by Nick Castellanos. Some people have an issue with it. I do know that Rob Thomson is really even-keeled, nice guy. I mean, he's Canadian. He's very, he doesn't get rattled very easily. I think anyone can tell that from listening to him speak for 30 seconds. I do know in my not very long time of covering this team and getting to talk to Rob Thomson before and after games, the one thing he doesn't like is any type of perception that he's not a good guy and that, like, he doesn't care about his players and that he's, like, neglectful of them in a way. So that's why this just me. I have to guess that this was something like that was said against Rojas or a teammate where Rob Thomson, like, I don't think he would care if it was something said specifically to him that was insulting to him, if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wondered that. Because he took him out for defense, but then his spot in the order came up one more time on Monday. Rojas hit Monday night. That would have been Castellanos. So, like, when you said that, it made me think, like, did he say, like, this bleeping guy's got a hit now or something to that effect?
Right.
And maybe that's offensive to Rojas. And I get all that. The question is he going to sulk now or is he going to hit? Because this, I feel like this, people brought up yesterday, in 2008, Jimmy Rollins was benched, right? Charlie Manuel benched, and Jimmy responded, and Jimmy helped him win the World Series. Like, that would be a great ending to this story. Castellanos is an interesting guy. I could see him hitting well for a couple weeks now and, like, channeling this. I could also see him sulking.
Yeah, he is an interesting guy. That's a good way to put it. I find it interesting to talk to him, like interview. I haven't interviewed him one-on-one, but even just like in media scrums, because you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. And just like to your point, Joe, like we don't know what's going to happen with him on the field. I hope, look, Nick Castellanos, what is he known for? He hits home runs when there's, big breaking news. Maybe he'll hit a home run when the news is about him.
Wait a minute, that's when somebody died usually, ain't it?
Usually,
yeah.
I know you were trying to clean it up,
or
but
just
it's like
something
like
I think the bit has kind of run its course, but now it'll be like any sort of news. Everyone just assumes that Nick Castellanos is going to hit a home run.
Maybe Topper's trying to create the news so he can get Castellanos.
There you go. Little reverse Uno card there.
That makes me wonder what he said even more. Because if he said, like, say to your point, if he said something egregious about his teammate, and now his teammate knows that, and how he feels,
that's a problem.
That might be a problem in the locker room.
Yeah, well, and they have such a great clubhouse culture, the Phillies do, and that's something that they really pride themselves on, and it's something that they've been prideful about for the last several seasons, really since like 2022. And I think a lot of that comes from guys like Kyle Schwarber, from guys like what was Rhys Hoskins, even Bryce Harper, like the leaders in the clubhouse. And Nick Castellanos is one of those guys. So I think if something was said that was out of line, there would need to be, repercussions dealt immediately.
Yeah, we'll see. And he'll be in the lineup tonight, so we'll see what happens there. All right, before we let you go, Devin, what is your feeling or read on the Harper situation? Because it seems like you think it's bizarre. I do, too. He was supposed to go on the trip, then he didn't, and they still haven't told us what his injury is. It's just like his wrist is bothering him. I don't know what that means.
It's concerning to me. I think it's a little bit strange that he didn't go on the road trip. Part of me, I guess the fan in me, the hopeful thinking is like, okay, maybe he didn't go because he's working on some sort of, rehab to be ready for the Mets series. Cause that's a really big series that's going down here in Philly starting on Friday. So could be about that, but like, yeah, it's a mystery. And the fact that like they had a day off last Thursday, most of the team was at Kyle Schwarber's charity event. Bryce Harper wasn't there either. maybe he's getting, some quiet treatments on whatever this mysterious wrist injury is, but it's certainly something to watch. And I think the fact that he didn't travel with the team is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I think it is too. And I just want them to tell me, hey, it's a sprained wrist. Hey, it's bizarre. Because usually with injuries, we have a sense of what the injury is. And with this, it's more like, we'll see when he's back. So that is something we'll keep our eye on. Devin, we appreciate you hopping in.
Thank you.
Of course.
Being
Thanks,
in studio.
guys.
And I know you'll be listening for the next Hughes Clue.
Oh, I'm locked in.
Yes.
I can't wait to find out what it is.
Yes, it can't be worse than the first one.
It probably
Well,
could.
no.
Is that a challenge?
No, I can't. No, I take it back. I don't want to challenge that.